Welcome, Marriage Dialogues. I am really looking forward to being re-inspired by something so beautiful my husband shared this week, and I hope it'll inspire you all. When I heard it, I was just like, more people have to hear this. So I'm so happy we're doing these weekly, these weekly events here, because then more people can hear what I hear every week at our Shabbos table. I'm really happy.
So, one of the themes in Chodesh Elul that we've already covered on this podcast, and it's worth covering time and time again, is the idea of Hamelech B'Sadeh. The king is in the field. And what does that mean? It comes from the idea that Chodesh Elul, the Roshei Tevot, the acronym, comes from a pasuk in Shir HaShirim. Ani L'Dodi, I am for my beloved, meaning we are for our beloved, being God. V'Dodi Li, and our beloved is for us. And in fact, our beloved is for me. It's a very personal discussion about the real love affair between the Jew individually and of course collectively. But in Elul, it's all about a focused closeness and intimacy to the Eibishter. And the Alter Rebbe has a mashal to explain this relationship. That the king, when he leaves his palace and he's on his way to the city to greet all of his ministers and his high-ranking officials, even down to the lowest level of the population, everyone has their place in the palace, as we know. The ministers sit around the king, and then outside the ministers, the advisors and the lower level officials and the soldiers, and into the courtyard with the special mercantile class, and then finally the peasants who are even outside the walls, but they are able to see the king when he comes out to the high tower and looks out over his people. But everyone is at a distance. And the king is with all his regalia, with all of his levushim, all of his garments, and his host, tzavot ois, the ministers and what have you. But when the king is on his way to the city where his palace is, he comes out to the field. And he comes out to the field without any of the entrapments of kingship. He comes simply. And the people then leave their homes and go out to the field. And presumably this field, this muddy, dirty field, is where they spend their year working, where they're plowing, where they're harvesting. And when they greet the king, he greets them sever panim yafos, with a wonderful countenance, marat panav shoichos, and he enlivens their lives. And these represent different levels of godly illumination. But the reality is, we can be hugged by the king during Chodesh Elul. That it's our avodah. It's a rusa dilatato, the arousal from below that arouses from above. But even in Chodesh Elul, we see that the king comes out to the field. He gives us this power, this natinas koach, this opportunity to have this special relationship. And those are the 13 attributes of mercy, Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim. And it's to allow us to do an honest tshuva. No matter how dirty we were in the field all year round, no matter how much in the muck, the king is willing to greet us, and not just in the palace when we've cleaned up and we're wearing our Yom Tov clothes, but when we're in our yearly weekday dirty clothing, that as long as we greet the king honestly and sincerely, he's going to return that greeting and more. So that's the mashal from Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li. But to really understand this mashal and Chodesh Elul, you have to understand, where is this Roshei Tevos, this pasuk, come from Shir HaShirim, Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li. So when you go to Parakeh, the 5th chapter, we see that there's another pasuk that comes before Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi. And this pasuk speaks about the fact that the Eibishter is in love with us, his beloved. And he comes to the Jewish people, and they're as a kala, as his bride, and they've locked themselves, we've locked ourselves up in our abode. Why? Because we've committed adultery. This is Shir Hashirim, that his bride has committed adultery. She's engaged with the Avodah Zarah, and she feels soiled and ashamed. But nonetheless, the Eibishter that comes to her abode and knocks on her door. Now she's sleeping in a state of depression. He knocks on the door, and what does she say? She says, Kol Dodi Doifek. And this comes from Ani Yesheno, I am sleeping, V'libi air, Ve'er libi, but my heart is awake. She's depressed. She's asleep. She's unconscious to transcendence, to God's love for her. But her heart is still awake. And she hears his knocking on the door. Kol Dodi, the voice of my beloved. Kol Doifek, knocks. Kol Dodi Doifek, Dodi Doifek, Pischili. Open the door, my beloved, he calls. And she becomes awakened. She listens to her heart. And he's now continuing by saying, Pischuli achoi sirayo siyono sizamosi. Open for me, my beloved, my only, my innocent dove. Imagine the Eibishter comes to us with all of our failures, but he still sees us as his exclusive achoisi, meaning my sister literally, but it means mine, of my close family. My rayosi, my beloved, my wife, my yoinosi tamosi, my innocent dove. He still sees us as his innocent, flawless dove, no matter what we've done. So the nigun that's famous, that was created by the Alter Rebbe, in full goes, Kol Dodi Dodi Doifek, Dodi Doifek Pischili. Kol Dodi Dodi Doifek, Dodi Doifek Pischili. Pischili achoi sirayosi, Yonosi tamosi. Schili achoi sirayosi, Yonosi tamosi. Now at this point, she starts to debate in her mind. Should I get up? Should I change into my robe, into my clothes, my current clothes? I've already changed, but they were soiled with avodah zarah, with idol worship, with my sins. Should I walk over and soil my feet? In other words, show that my feet were dirty before And she's debating whether she deserves to open the door for her beloved. And she hesitates. And then all of a sudden she gets up and she runs to the door to open it for him. But her beloved is gone. She didn't come to the door. And she runs down to the marketplace, and as she's going there, the guards beat her, the goyim, the chule. And then she comes to the maids of Yerushalmi, Naros of Yerushalmi, and these are the women who've enticed her to chase after Avodah Zarah, who've been complicit in her sins. And they make fun of her. What are you looking for? And she says, my beloved. And she says, teasing her, well, what does he look like? They know exactly what he looks like, but she describes her beloved as this strong, powerful, handsome man that she loves with all of her heart. And then all of a sudden you hear from God, and he says that he loves his beloved just as much as she loves, and he describes her in the most incredible romantic ways, but he can't go to her because the judgment has not come from on high, that galus, that her exile is over. In other words, she had that opportunity and she paused. She didn't go and open the door. She felt she didn't deserve him and she hesitated. And then the moment left, and now they're both waiting for the judgment on high, when Geula, when redemption can come and they can be together as loved ones again. And how does she end this section of Shir HaShirim? Even though she realizes they're separated, and it's out of, other than the fact that she can continue now to be faithful to him, the actual moment of Geula is in the Beis Din Lamaila's hands. She concludes by saying, Ani Dodi, I am for my beloved, and my beloved Dodi Li is for me. She has absolute faith, and she's returned to that intimate love. That's Chodesh Elul. So the niggin goes, Kol Dodi Dodi Doifek, Dodi Doifek Tischili, Tischili Achoy Sirayosi Yono Sitamosi. Ay, ay, mama, 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 ya mama, mama, mama. She's hesitating. Ya mama, mama, ya mama, 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 ya mama, 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 ya mama, mama, mama. She goes to the door, but no one's there. Ya mama, ya mama, ya mama. She runs to the market. Ya mama, ya mama, mama, ya mama, ya mama. She's beaten. Ya mama, ya mama, ya mama, mama. The maids of Yerushalmi that enticed her now make fun. Ya mama, ya mama, mama. Ya mama, ya mama, mama. Now he remembers his description of her as the beautiful maiden, his kala, and she remembers him. Ya mama, ya mama, 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 mama, mama. Ya mama, ya mama, mama, mama. Now she concludes with Anila Dodi Vidodi. Ya mama, 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 ya mama, mama, ya mama, ya mama, mama. So Chodesh Elul has a lot to say about not just our relationship to the Eibishter and Tshuva. It has something to do with the husband and wife's relationship and our relationship with our children. That there are moments when we can create that opportunity, or the opportunity comes, but we hesitate. Someone reaches out and tries in his or her way to apologize, to make things right, to make things not as bad. chas v'shalom. And we hold on to the anger. We hold on to the script that we're used to, and we hesitate. We lay on the bed thinking, should I get up? Should I go to the door? Should I open it? And then all of a sudden, by the time you do something, they've moved on. And then even when you both recognize that you love one another and you can persevere, sometimes the wall, the hurt, keeps you apart no matter how much you love one another. And that's what Chodesh Elul represents, the time where you express your Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, your 13 attributes of faith which you inherit from God, to open up to your beloved. And in this week's Parsha, when Kiseitse, when we have this lashon about marriage, we learn in the pasuk that husband and wife are married when it says that the ish yikach isha, when a man takes a woman. But what that means in terms of the actual marriage ceremony, what's required, it's unclear. Yet we have another source for the same lashon when Avram buys Marat HaMachpelah and overpays 400 shekels for it, 400 gold coins, which would be worth, in today's money, incredible amounts. And it says there that Avram Yikach, that he acquired V'yikach, he acquired the field. And the story goes that when the Goyish prince who sold him this, the king that sold him this field, went back to his wife, his family, his people, and he said, "You won't believe what I just did. I was able to sell this field for a fortune. What is it? It's a hole in the ground. It's nothing. Could you imagine? Imagine how much I got for it." And Avram goes back to Sarah and he says, "You won't believe it. I was able to buy the resting place of Adam and Chava, that holy place that will become the resting place of us and our children and their children, and will be a special location, holy place for Yidden for generations. I got it for a steal." And that's what Yikach means. It's a bargain. Each side gets what they think is an absolute treasure, if it's a true bargain. And that's why the lashon Yikach is used. That marriage is about acquiring a treasure. So that when you marry your wife, to the husbands, you think of this as an incredible bargain. Look what I got. And the wife goes and she says, look what I got. Because they see each other as an absolute treasure. And in fact, later on in the Parsha, when it says that a man who's Yikach, again, takes a wife, a new wife, he's not to go out to war. And the actual lashon, let me just pull up the pasuk. The actual lashon is Ki Yikach ish isha, a man marries a wife, chadosha, a new wife. Lo yetze b'tzava, v'lo yavor alav, l'chol davar. He doesn't go out from his house. He doesn't go to war. Nucky, he's absolutely putter. He's exempt from all of this. So Shona Elchas, it'll have in his home a free year. The Simach es Ishto Asher Lokach. Look at the language. The husband, so that he goes home, so that he can Simach, make happy, as Ishto Asher Lokach, the wife that he married. Rashi points out Rashi, this is the 11th century, that if you look at the Targum Onkelos makes clear in his Aramaic translation that in this case, v'simach es ishto, es can either be a non-translatable key that what comes after the verb is a direct object, what could be here, and he makes happy who? His wife, es ishto. It doesn't have a translation. Or, as we know from Rashi, es can also mean im, with. And so Targum Onkelos, and Rashi makes the point, if you look at Targum Onkelos carefully, don't translate this that he has a year off from the army, v'samach im ishto asher lacha, that he should be happy with his wife that he married. He says that's not the proper translation. Samach would be a pa'al of the verb, meaning you are happy together with your wife. No, Rashi says it's a PL, it's an active, that it must be understood to be, and the husband has the year off to do what? To make his wife happy. He has to, that's his obligation. He doesn't go home for a year expecting her to make him happy and he'll make her happy. He got the bargain. She's his treasure. His obligation is to go back, and if he's not going to be at war, he's not allowed to be at war, but the Eibishter is saying to him, I don't want you at war. Your job for that year is to make your wife happy.
Don't you love Hashem more for that? I mean, when I'm hearing this, it's like...
And that really is the essence of a relationship. When you start off the relationship, when you're after your Shana Rishona, your first year, or whether you're, as we are in our 34th year, and there should be many more, that you have to look at your wife or your husband as the treasure. You got the bargain, not the other way around. And your job is to simech with the PL, to be active. Simech et ish, or your husband. If you look at your relationship in that way, then the walls won't be created. The elbows will be easy. He'll open the door. He won't have to knock on the door hoping you'll unlock it. It'll be open for him. And you're not going to hesitate going to him. You'll be rushing to the door to jump into his arms. That's what Chodesh Elul is to remind us that that's the goal. And not just with the Eibishter, and not just with Torah and mitzvahs, but with our loved ones.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. B'ezrat Hashem, we will jump more to be b'simcha with our loved ones. And there was a mashal of a shipwreck. Just a story about some stranded individuals on an island, and they're like really like cold and weary and hungry, and the howling and the, oh my gosh, the noises, just so scary. And they pray, please, please, please give us salvation here, Hashem. So Hashem actually sends salvation, and when the person comes, it says, like, I give you a choice. Either we stay here overnight and you'll be sad first, but then you'll be happy, or you're going to come with me now. You'll be happy now, but you'll be a bit sad after. Which one do you want? And unanimously, no, let's just go. Let's just be happy now. Later we'll deal with it, whatever. It's okay, fine. But one thing, just take your hands, take from the ground what's on the ground, put in your pockets, and follow me. They did. So they came to this, the place of destination where they were saved. They were so happy. And the next morning, the person said, okay, right, you were happy last night. Now I want you to open your pockets and look what's in there. And they took out of their pockets these diamonds. And they're like, oh my gosh, We were in a diamond field. Had we known, we should have stayed. So like, so many times it's very difficult for people to seize the moment and see what diamonds that are coming to them while they're overriding their hesitation or overriding their feelings of negativity that doesn't really have so much joy in helping or being kind in whatever way to the other. And it's just like we don't value it at the moment of how precious it is for our own souls, how precious it is for the other person's soul, and how precious it is for like the ultimate beauty of the relationship that's going to develop from that extra kindness. You know, when we were debating about the title of my book, Reaching New Heights Through Kindness in Marriage, I was back and forth. At one point I wanted the book to be called Love Prevails. But love, what is love? Like, it could just be, someone might think it's a feeling. Oh, our feelings for each other. No, the actions of kindness. That's what's going to really make your marriage work, rather than focus on just the love part. Because in Hebrew, there's no such word as really, even in the 10 spheros, as love. The byproduct of Chochmah Bina Das is chesed, kindness. The byproduct of Chochmah Bina Das is not the first, like, behavioral characteristic, is not Ava, it's chesed, which is kindness. Because if you can't manifest it in a physical way, then it's almost like, you know, it's not going to really do the trick in your relationship. It's the real. Oh, you're looking for the song? You know, I posted that song, by the way, on Facebook, and I have it on my phone, but we're both phones here.
See if I can find it.
Yeah, so, because the whole week I've been listening to this song after you gave that amazing Dvar Torah and shared that video. So yeah, put it on.
So we'll conclude with, we can all listen to the Kol Dodui Niggin, done well by Jonathan Rizal, certainly far better than I rendered it.
And just really open the door. Hear the beating of the heart of your loved one. Take a moment and really meditate. Where can you open your heart? Let go of what was. And be ready.
heartbeat.
הלב דופק.
Lev dofek, the heart beats.
התחילי, אבא צועק. רש"י כותב, אני ישנה וליבי ער, כותב רש"י, ליבי ער. זה הקדוש ברוך הוא, כך כתוב בפסיקתא. ליבי ער זה הקדוש ברוך הוא. כל דודי דופק זה משה רבינו. בעזרת השם יבוא מנהיג אמיתי, מנהיג שיאיר את העולם. תתחילי אחותי.
Open. To see it.
All you have to do is get out of the bed, put on your revolution, whether they're soiled or not, and open the door.
Let the fiery love of Hashem melt your heart. So it's open and ready to receive His love. And let that be. Wow. And
I
let-
hope everyone could hear it.
Yeah, and let that be really replicated in your open heart to your husband, to your spouse, to your children, to really.
Amen. Ken Yivasam.
Okay.
Everyone should have a Ksivach Sima Taiva, should be signed and sealed for a good year. Shana Taiva Masuka, and a sweet year.
See you later next week. I hope regular time. Oh no, yeah, Tuesday regular time, but with the retreat that we're having here. Okay. Actually, getaway. Okay. See you later. And if you have any questions, I'll check them out later.